at the top empathy episodes again, as you saw at the beginning. And that, by the way, was the edited version. Thankfully, Troy's abilities were dialed down a bit as the series went on. Given Picard's excess grouchiness in these early episodes as well, I'm pretty sure those two facts aren't a coincidence. Listen, you stupid crybaby, the last thing I need is for my goddamn therapist to start weeping every fucking time someone on this ship stubs their toe. Now let's make this real simple. If you sense an emotion I actually might give a fuck about, tell me, and then shut your bitch hole. For God's sakes, I'd like to finish this mission while I still have some of my own hair left. Anyway, Zorn denies knowing what Troy's talking about, so the three leave for now. On Enterprise, Riker wants to talk to Data, so we get this scene.
Tell me the location of Commander Data.
Lieutenant Commander Data, now located in holodeck area 4J.
And as you can see here, pointing you that way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I particularly liked that now located bit. It makes Data sound like he's an outlet store in the mall. So Riker finds Data in the holodeck. Ah, the holodeck. I'm sure this isn't going to become a tired old plot device, but since this is new, they really tried to capture the wonder of it. And I suppose now is a good time as any to comment on something I've been alluding to, which is how awful the performances have been. Now, this could very well be that it was a new series and they were just having trouble finding their footing. But I'm not exactly convinced of that. I mean, Denise Crosby chewing up the scenery, Marina Sirtis's PMS kidney stones, Picard's excess hostility and bile towards his crew, Jonathan Frakes' constant mugging of the camera. I don't think that they were all the result of growing pains. I think Corey Allen, who directed this, and quite a few other rather unpleasant Trek episodes, probably had a hand in this. And thanks to Will Wheaton, I can really picture Allen's "he controls the sky" mantra, and it pretty much fills in those blanks for me. So Riker talks with Data to set up his becoming more human character arc while exploring the concept of the holodeck. Wesley comes in solely so he can fall into the water and then look sheepishly at the grouchy old captain later on. Down on the planet, the five of them decide to go Scooby-Doo and split up to search the station, but not before Geordi gets a chance to do a short little disco routine. Under the station, exploring some tunnels, Riker does what is cuddly the most unforgivable thing possible, and orders Troy to use her empathic bullshit to draw out yet another long and tedious scene. It's at this point that the Wesley Crusher path to Dorkville begins. Up until now, we could just dismiss his antics as typical child behavior, but starting now, we're being pushed into the direction of the Wunderkind Übermensch that he will evolve into. Shown in Journey's End, directed by Corey, he controls the sky, Allen. Picard is annoyed at the mere sight of Wesley. Insert your own joke here. I mean, they're all good, but cools down at the sight of Dr. Crusher. This scene is no doubt People's Exhibit A as far as the West is Picard's illegitimate son crowd is concerned. But I'm sure that there's no way that could actually be true from the perspective of the creators. In this supposedly utopian future, for a captain to doink the wife of someone under his command and send him off on a mission to die would be such a massive betrayal, we could never forgive Picard. You can't get much worse than that for betrayal. Except maybe going up and QBing for the New York Jets. Sucking motherfucker. Saving us from any more of this is the arrival of a mysterious alien ship that, like all mysterious alien ships, refuses to answer hail. Eventually it starts shooting at the Bandit City, where the away team has reached the surface, and half are beamed up, but not before Troy gets in some more emoting. With the kind of speed you expect from this episode, after the ship has beaten the crap out of the Bandit, Picard finally decides maybe they should actually try to do something. He orders phasers locked on, prompting the arrival of Q, who decides for really no good reason to just interfere in their efforts to resolve this. On the planet, Riker and Data find Zorn hiding under a table next to Bernard Shaw, but he's soon beamed away by the other ship. With the pressure of Q's decision, the assault on the Bandit, the disappearance of Zorn, and the potential concerns for Enterprise by that ship, Picard decides to go down and bullshit with Crusher for a while. Riker and his team beam over and find the ship looks just like the tunnels. Troy again senses shit and then goes rabbit. They find Zorn ahead, begging and pleading pitifully while being tortured. So our enlightened crew decides now might be a good time to ask just a few routine questions. Finally, Riker and Data get around to getting their ladies' razor phasers out and free him. The plots now all collide as Q returns and begins interfering again, but the away team is sent back anyway by the other ship. They put the pieces together that the Bandit actually built Farpoint Station by using the help of the mate of this alien, and now Enterprise gets ready to help it. And just the idea of helping is apparently enough. as the ship turns into a giant space jellyfish. After the energy beam is used, Farpoint turns into another space jellyfish, and they do the largest display of public affection as they hold tentacles. So with that, Q's test is passed, saying but implying he might be back. With that, the crew gets ready to depart and fly off into 7 years that, frankly, are going to prove to be a hell of a lot better than this. The post-episode follow-up. The annoying character is not easy this week. Picard was as ornery and arrogant as he is on his worst day. Tasha Yar overreacts every time a minor crisis appears. Worf proves that Microbrain is a very appropriate name for himself. And we are introduced to Wesley Crusher. But even if you take all that, put it together, it cannot overcome Troy. With not only her relentless emoting, but that it is so long, and she has to say everything at least twice. She's like Johnny Two Times from Goodfellas. This early episode is rather odd, with a lot of elements that are just going to be abandoned. For one, there won't be that many transvestites seen in later episodes. Another is the ship is going to be a lot less like a mall and more like an actual ship. There's even some ideas that didn't even make it this far that, frankly, could only be called a good thing. One was to have huge areas of the ship filled with water so that dolphins and whales could be on board, which would really, really date this series, as the human love affair with dolphins is no longer at the ridiculous height that it was in the 80s. For flimsy justification, they were supposed to be there to help with navigation, because dolphins and whales are used to traveling in 3 dimensions. Well, with that kind of logic, why go to all the trouble of having all that water in these huge animals when you can get the same kind of effect from bees? After all, they move in 3 dimensions too. And you can have yummy, homemade honey. And plus, you could do the episode where Riker eats all the honey and gets stuck in Rabbit's house. Final score for Encounter at Farpoint in its entirety is 3 out of 10. The part dealing with Q in the first part is the only real thing that props this episode up. Its pace is horrible. The performance is shifting between annoying and bad, and you need a duck occasionally because of all the masturbating going on here. In many ways, that's going to get even worse in the next chapter of the Q arc.
These prisoners, to answer for the multiple and grievous savageries of
How please you, criminal?
Okay, it's late. I got royally boned tonight by the fucking website that didn't fucking work, but I'm tired.